Hello there, welcome to Hydroponics Daily, your go-to podcast for everything soilless cultivation. I'm your host, Dr. Russell Sharp, and I'm the owner of Utrema Limited, this company here where we manufacture specialist inputs for hydroponics and sports turf and crops. And our hero product is a product called Gold Leaf in the US or Liquid Gold in the UK. If you're in the UK or you're anywhere else in Europe, you've probably eaten fruit and vegetables from a country that most people have never heard of. And that's because if you buy your fruits and vegetables from a supermarket, a lot of things like cherry tomatoes are grown in what it says on the packet, Morocco. However, there's been a bit of controversy currently because they're actually being grown in Western Sahara, which has sort of been taken over by Morocco. What would we describe it as? It's not a colony, but they consider it their land. So they've taken it a bit like Ukraine and Russia. But this was a while back, and this happened I'm just looking at the Wikipedia page. When did it occur? In the 70s. And it used to be a Spanish colony. It used to be Sahara Occidental in Spanish Sahara. So Spain made a mess of decolonizing this area of land, and Morocco laid claim to it and administer a large section of it. However, there is also an independence group called the Polisario Front. So in the Moroccan administered areas, there's lots of hydroponic and conventional production of horticultural crops, and they've been labelled as Moroccan on the labels, and this is against EU regulations. So Spain and France are complaining of the mislabeling of tomatoes, and particularly, and I think they've done other crops like squashes as well in the past. So it's a bit of a strange one, really, because if I was Spain, I wouldn't be causing too much of an issue here because they messed up decolonizing it, and there's sporadic fighting and things like this, I think, involved, and the human rights issues and things like this. So really not really worth fighting over some cherry tomatoes. There is issue with tomatoes and other horticultural crops that come in from Morocco being destroyed by French and Spanish farmers when they get imported, because obviously free trade is only good when it benefits you, not when it benefits other people. So just like when they used to burn lorries full of lambs coming in from the UK. Look that one up. That's what blast from the past. They didn't like the competition, I think it is, when it comes to Saharan and Moroccan tomatoes. So it's an interesting one. Obviously, a lot of tomatoes are grown in Almeria, down in Spain, the southernmost tip. But there are also burgeoning horticultural trade in Morocco. Lots and lots of blueberries are grown in Morocco. Lots of samphire, as I've talked about in the past, that's grown in Morocco. But how do you know whether it's grown in Western Sahara or Morocco? At the moment, you don't. Basically, I think the European Union is just going to put lots of fines in, and that seems to be where they tend to operate. There are also Spanish enclaves on the top of Morocco. Ceuta, I think that's one. That's where all the illegal immigrants rush the border, and tens of hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants get into Europe that way. So a few colonies left there in North Africa that Spain hasn't properly decolonized. They have a go at us, the British, for Gibraltar, but they've got a lot more colonies up there if you look into it, and causes a lot of problems like this one. So yeah, it's a controversial one. How do we know where our food is coming from? How do we know it's being grown if it's being mislabeled? There are lots of other mislabeling issues in supermarkets, where a lot of the big supermarkets started making up fake farms and putting fake farms down as the suppliers because they were just relabeling product from elsewhere imported. So they gave British-sounding farm names to the produce. So, yeah, a bit of a controversial one. Has anyone been to Western Sahara? I've never been to Western Sahara. Don't really fancy it. I don't like the heat. It's currently 32 degrees Celsius here in the middle of England, and it's way too hot for me. So maybe in the winter, I'll go to the Atlas Mountains in Morocco or something like that, somewhere colder. But yeah, if you've seen any pictures got any good resources of Western Sahara and hydroponics, then I'd love to hear about it. Some of the hydroponic setups in Morocco are massive. Like the fertilizer mixing sheds are larger than, say, a hectare or something like that. They're crazy big, and yeah, it's a massive growth area. There's lots of trade shows, horticultural trade shows in Morocco. Not sure about Western Sahara. I think it's a bit less secure an area to go traveling in. But if you've been there, let me know, and love to do a follow-up episode on it. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.